Chapter 101, After graduation, we'll get married at once. A luxury business vehicle stopped in an urban village that seemed entirely out of place, attracting the attention of many passers-by. Soon, the car door opened, and Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan got out. After the car had driven away, Lin Zikin looked at Shen Qinghan the first chance he got and couldn't help but complain, "I mean, this is just weird. You went to take an adaptation test, how did you end up with a master out of the blue? I find it strange too, it was so sudden." Shen Qinghan still thought the whole situation was ridiculous, blaming her own too gentle nature and inability to argue, leading to haphazardly becoming someone's disciple. Lin Zikin felt a bit of a headache. "Forget it, let's wait and see. If the person has no ill will and seems to be of good character, then there's no harm in acknowledging this cheap master. If their character is not good, once you're strong and independent, you can just end this so-called master-disciple relationship." "MHM." Shen Qinghan gave a barely audible response, like a child who had done something wrong. At that moment, the family door opened. Zhang Wangzhen stood at the doorway, calling out to the two by the roadside, "What are you standing there for? Aren't you coming in?" Hearing her, the two stopped chatting and quickly went inside the house. Shen Jianyi and Su Meng had been very busy lately, and Shen Qinghan was mostly eating at Lin Zikin's home, rarely going back to her own. In the evening, at Mingxiang restaurant, the two families put aside all other matters, finding time to gather together to celebrate the children's great results in the adaptation test they took that day. Lin Zikin scored second in the entire province, which surprised no one as it seemed very reasonable. But Shen Qinghan became the provincial top scorer. Both sets of parents were stunned, thinking the kids were playing a joke on them. It wasn't until they witnessed Shen Qinghan checking the adaptation test scores on the official college entrance examination website and saw the figure of 16% displayed that the parents believed it was real. "My daughter really is the top scorer, Jianyi, am I dreaming?" Su Meng's face was full of disbelief, feeling it was too surreal. Her daughter had always been just a pretty face without anything extraordinary about her from childhood till now. Yet, today, she had suddenly emerged from obscurity, surpassing Lin Zikin to become the provincial top scorer. She wouldn't even dare to dream of this. On the other hand, Shen Jianyi also found it hard to believe, but with the evidence right before his eyes, he had to forcefully explain. There have always been dark horse candidates like Qinghan in previous years, many of whom seemed ordinary during their 3 years of high school and not particularly athletic, but they just surprised everyone in the adaptation test. That's true, but going from a dark horse to the top scorer is a bit much. Su Meng still felt it was so unreal. Zhang Wangzhen laughed, "Well, there's no need to fuss over these details. What's important is that the two of them can go to the same university now, it's predestined fate." "That's right." Su Meng sincerely smiled. She had always worried her daughter couldn't keep up with Lin Zikin and that the two would drift apart as they grew up. Now that problem was solved, no need to worry anymore. The childhood sweethearts, one a top scorer and the other a runner-up, were a perfect match, destined to become an enviable couple that no one could split apart. Around 9 in the evening, the family dinner ended. Each family took their leave to their respective homes. Around 10:30 at night, Shen Qinghan, having taken a bath, dressed in pajamas and went to find Lin Zikin. Seeing her come looking for Lin Zikin in pajamas late at night, Zhang Wangzhen teased, "Han Han, are you here to sleep with Xiao Chen again?" "No, it's not that, I just have some important things to talk about with Xiao Chen in person." Shen Qinghan, her face flushed, denied it. The words "sleep together" sounded too misleading, as if implying something more intimate, making her quite embarrassed. "Aunt Xin, I'm going upstairs to find Xiao Chen." After dropping that line, Shen Qinghan walked towards the staircase. Once she had vanished at the stairwell, Zhang Wangzhen immediately said to Lin Yanzheng, "They've just finished their exams and she has something so important that she must discuss face to face, Do you think Han Han is going to confess to Xiao Chen? Probably. Lin Yanzheng, engrossed in the Kung Fu soccer match on TV, replied absently. Zhang Wangzhen went on to herself, the two of them are both 18 and have graduated from high school, they are proper adults now, it's indeed time for them to be together. Yet, date for 4 years in college, and get married right after graduation. After graduation, get pregnant, with twins, a boy, and a girl. Tisk, perfect. As she spoke, Zhang Wangzhen's charming face, still full of allure, was covered with a smile, blissfully imagining the wonderful life of 3 generations living together in the future. Upstairs, in the corridor, Shen Qinghan knocked on Lin Zikin's room door, and as soon as she entered, she said to him, "Ziai Chen, I have something very important to tell you." "What is it?" "It's about what happened at the base during the day." "Something at the base?" Lin Zikin was somewhat puzzled and closed the door, inviting her to sit on the bed and talk slowly. Shen Qinghan kicked off her slippers, sat cross-legged on the bed hugging a pillow, and then said, "Today at the base, that inexplicable master who acknowledged me used spiritual power to give me a full body checkup to see why my genetic fusion compatibility was so high. The final result was that there is nothing special about my body, no different from an ordinary person. She couldn't find out anything about my body leaking water." After listening to Shen Qinghan, Lin Zikin felt quite surprised. Could Yuan Dongji, who could manipulate dozens of meters high surging waves at sea, not discern the secrets of Shen Qinghan's body? It seems that Shen Qinghan's body is even more mysterious than imagined. Thinking this, Lin Zikin seriously said to Shen Qinghan, "About your body leaking water and having an extremely high water affinity, let's not let a third person know for now, let's wait and see how things develop. Our current understanding of this world is still very naive. What we know is only limited to what we can see in front of us, we could say we know nothing. Some things, once exposed, we cannot judge what kind of consequences will follow, whether good or bad. Therefore, for now, let's be conservative and prioritize stability." Lin Zikin continued, "Whether it's your body leaking water, having an extremely high water affinity, or the strange sounds heard twice in the sea, we'll gradually research them as we grow stronger and more knowledgeable. There's no need to rush." "Okay, I understand. I'll listen to you," Shen Qinghan obediently nodded. After speaking, she then added, "Oh right, I forgot to tell you something. Back at the base, my master told me I have a senior sister, and when I saw her photo, I found she looks a lot like Bai Xuet. You should remember Bai Xuet, right? The white-haired girl we got along well with in the 2nd grade, then suddenly transferred schools and left. I have her photo. I'll send it to you to see." Shen Qinghan took out her phone and sent the photo to Lin Zikin through WeChat. Bai Xuet? At the mention of this name, Lin Zikin's eyebrows twitched, and dormant memories began to assail him. Quickly, he took out his phone, opened WeChat and clicked on the photo Shen Qinghan sent. What he saw was a pretty-faced, white-haired girl with a good figure. Indeed, she looked somewhat like Bai Xuet. But the eyes were too sharp, the aura too imposing, not at all like the Bai Xuet from his memories, making it difficult to confirm if it was the same person. However, Lin Zikin didn't care much about whether this white-haired girl was Bai Xuet or not. Unlike Shen Qinghan, in his heart, Bai Xuet was just a passerby from his elementary school days, not someone with whom he had any special connection. At this moment, what captivated him the most was the background in the photo, with the plants looking very peculiar, almost like alien species. "Do you know where this photo's background is?" "I don't know, I didn't ask." "Why don't you ask your cheap master about it on WeChat?" "Sure, I'll ask right now." Although Shen Qinghan was somewhat embarrassed to contact Yuan Dongji, seeing Lin Zikin's desire to know about the photo's background, she braced herself to inquire for him. After sending the message, Yuan Dongji did not reply immediately. She must be away from her phone at the moment. Lin Zikin wasn't in a hurry and asked Shen Qinghan to open Yuan Dongji's WeChat moments to see what kind of person this so-called master was. Unfortunately, the moments were set to be visible for only 3 days, and there was nothing to see. The only thing they could see was the WeChat profile picture, which was a solitary lotus flower growing atop the water. About 10 minutes later, Yuan Dongji replied. Just 2 brief words, Origin Land. Chapter 102, 101, A Night of Sharing the Same Bed and Pillow. Origin Land. Shen Qinghan expressed her confusion, what place is that? Lin Zikin had not heard of it either, so he chose to open the browser and seek help from Jiandu Baikai. But after searching, he found nothing, with no results for a place called Origin Land. If the answer couldn't be found online, the only option was to ask Yuan Dongji. Thinking this, Lin Zikin said to Shen Qinghan, ask her what Origin Land is. Shen Qinghan obediently went to ask. This time, Yuan Dongji replied quickly. However, the content of the reply was not satisfactory. Yuan Dongji said that once they started university and had some strength, they would naturally learn about Origin Land, and there was no need to know about it now. Lin Zikin was very curious and not ready to give up, intending to let Shen Qinghan continue asking. But then he thought about it, and considering that doing so might irritate Yuan Dongji and be bad for Shen Qinghan, he did not ask her to continue. After ending the topic about Origin Land, the two sat on the bed and each played with their phones. Not long after playing, Shen Qinghan hesitated for a moment, put down her phone, and looked at Lin Zikin to ask, Xiao Chen, do all men like women who wear kipayos? Depends on the person. Lin Zikin answered calmly. Inside, however, he felt a bit embarrassed. He knew she must have noticed him sneaking peeks at Yuan Dongji's butt and legs on their way to the cafeteria at the base his masculine behavior. Do you like kipayos? Shen Qinghan did not allow for any evasion and directly cut to the chase, asking Lin Zikin this question. Lin Zikin honestly replied, I do. Without saying a word, Shen Qinghan just nodded, then quietly opened a shopping website, searched for blue and white porcelain kipayo, and without a second thought, placed an order for one. 81% of buyers who purchased a kipayo also bought silk stockings. After placing her order, Shen Qinghan noticed a product recommendation section at the bottom suggesting silk stockings. There were many styles available: black, white, flesh-colored, fishnet, and other types. Boys must all really like silk stockings, right? With this stereotype in mind, Shen Qinghan's face turned slightly red as she asked, what about silk stockings? Like them too? Lin Zikin remained as straightforward as ever. So he really likes them. Continually delving into the topic, Shen Qinghan's cheeks grew redder as she asked, there are many types of silk stockings, like black, white, flesh-colored, which kind do you prefer? Wait, why are you suddenly asking so many bizarre questions? Lin Zikin, sensing something was off, looked up at Shen Qinghan and counter-questioned. No reason, just suddenly got curious and wanted to ask. After saying this, Shen Qinghan once again asked, so, which style of silk stockings do you prefer? Lin Zikin answered, black or white, I guess. With that answer, Shen Qinghan silently placed an order for 2 pairs of both black and white stockings. At this moment, the room door was knocked. Then Zhang Wangzhen's voice came from outside, Han Han, your mom has brought you some personal care items, open the door and take them. Ah! Shen Qinghan was momentarily startled. Upon realizing what was happening, she quickly got out of bed to open the door. Outside, Zhang Wangzhen was smiling as she handed Shen Qinghan a bag filled with toothpaste, toothbrush, towel, clothes, and diapers. You two have finished your college entrance exams, so it's fine to stay up late and sleep in. If you have anything to talk about, you can have a good chat tonight. Alright, I'll leave you two to talk, I won't disturb you anymore. After leaving these words and a meaningful glance, Zhang Wangzhen quickly closed the door, leaving ample private space for the two of them. I didn't ask my mom to bring these, she did it on her own initiative. Shen Qinghan said while holding the bag and turned to Lin Zikin to explain. Lin Zikin said, "It's fine, she's already brought them, so you might as well sleep here tonight." Shen Qinghan murmured a faint hum in reply. Afterward, she opened the bag to check if all the daily necessities were there, especially the most important diapers. Although her body was much more normal now and she hardly wet the bed anymore, she had to wear the diapers just in case luck wasn't on her side and she wet Lin Zikin's bed. She used to wet Lin Zikin's bed all the time as a child, but now that she was grown up, that just couldn't happen again. "Hey, what's this?" Shen Qinghan suddenly pulled out a small pink packet from her bag, which looked like some sort of snack. Lin Zikin glanced over at the sound and, the next second, his expression became extremely unnatural. At that moment, Shen Qinghan also saw the line of small print on the packet ultra-thin natural latex rubber XX sleeves. Her entire face flushed red immediately, and she hurriedly threw the little packet back into the bag. Then, the atmosphere in the room fell into an awkward silence, but both of them tacitly acted as if nothing had happened. "I'm going to put on a diaper." Unable to bear the awkward atmosphere, Shen Qinghan picked up the diaper and left the room. About 10+ minutes later, she returned with a diaper on. "It's 11 o'clock already, you got a lot of blood drawn today, your body needs to recover, go to sleep early and rest." "Yet." The two exchanged a few words awkwardly, then quickly turned off the lights and went to bed, avoiding the lingering awkwardness in the room. During the night, Lin Zikin fell asleep, but Shen Qinghan was still awake. At this moment, her mind was filled with thoughts about that small packet in the bag, irritatingly restless and too agitated to sleep. She tossed and turned, and finally turned over to face Lin Zikin sleeping beside her. Looking at the face that had her smitten day and night, she suddenly had the urge to stealthily kiss him. But she gave up as soon as she considered it. Rather than a one-sided stolen kiss, she preferred to have a mutual kiss when they were both willing. A few days later, the college entrance exam results were released. Only the cut-off scores and how many made it into the top schools were announced. As usual, the scores of the top 10 within the province were concealed. Nobody knew who the top scorer was, or who the second or third places were. However, admission office staff from various universities were obviously an exception. On the second day after the results were released, the recruitment officers from Kyoto University and Shanghai University visited Lin Zikin's home in turn, offering various benefits to persuade him to enroll at their schools. Because Shen Qinghan had already decided to study at Shanghai University, Lin Zikin didn't think twice and immediately chose Shanghai University. This university was close to home, and his childhood sweetheart was there, leaving no reason not to choose it. After seeing off the recruitment officer from Shanghai University, Lin Zikin rolled out his bicycle from home to take Shen Qinghan to He-Yu's martial arts gym. Both had signed endorsement deals with He-Yu's gym, and today they were going there to engage in a promotional event. They decided not to use the notoriety of being the top exam scorers for the promotion, that would be too conspicuous. They only marketed themselves as having been accepted into the top 2 schools. Apart from them, Li Chuxin, who was also accepted into the top schools, had signed with He-Yu's gym as well. They had all signed on as a favor to group members. "Hey, I'm going to start cycling, stop looking at your phone. Hold on tight." Seeing Shen Qinghan holding her phone and typing in the back seat, Lin Zikin reminded her. At his words, Shen Qinghan put away her phone, skillfully wrapped her arms around his waist, and sweetly smiled, "I'm holding on tight already, let's go." Lin Zikin steadied the handlebars and lightly pushed on the pedal, and they quickly sped off. But they hadn't gone far when a group of burly men blocked their path. One of them, a middle-aged man with a Taoist priest hairstyle, approached him with a polite smile and asked, "Hello, are you Lin Zikin?" "And you are?" The middle-aged man with the Taoist hairstyle replied with a smile, "Let me introduce myself, I am Lu Juanwu, the Dean of the Martial Arts College at Shanghai University. I'm here today to discuss an enrollment matter with you. The Martial Arts College? Lin Zikin was a bit confused and quickly said, "Your admission office from Shanghai University just visited, and I've already decided to enroll in your Evolution College." The middle-aged man with the Taoist hairstyle said, "I am not here on behalf of Shanghai University today, but to invite you to join us at Tianren Pavilion." Tianren Pavilion? Lin Zikin felt it sounded familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere. After thinking for a moment, he quickly remembered. Tianren Pavilion, that was a conservative organization frequently mentioned in news reports. An organization that opposed genetic fusion. P.S. Bowls up, begging for monthly tickets and recommendations. Chapter 103, 102, The Human Body is Invincible by Nature. From the day the physical assessments ended, Tianren Pavilion had been appearing frequently in the news and maintained a high level of buzz online. However, most of the attention it received was negative, stemming from criticisms and condemnations. That's because, over the past few days, Tianren Pavilion had been visiting, or rather, harassing those candidates with good physical test data. They were persuading them to give up genetic fusion and join Tianren Pavilion to research and develop the potential of pure-blood humans. During this period, Tianren Pavilion's main strategy was a wide-net approach to recruitment. No matter if a candidate's genetic fusion compatibility was high or low, as long as they had good physical test data, the pavilion would visit each one, employing various harassment-like recruitment tactics. Then, the candidates' parents complained and exposed Tianren Pavilion, leading to a significant amount of criticism and condemnation from society. They were accused of leading the youth astray. They were accused of having no shame. They were accused of being part of a heretical sect. In such circumstances, Tianren Pavilion's reputation grew worse, becoming the rat across the street that everyone wants to bash after each year's college entrance examination. As a result, their annual recruitment visits were mostly met with closed doors. Occasionally, they would manage to recruit a few candidates whose physical data were not bad, but who had unsatisfactory compatibility for genetic fusion and mechanical modification. The majority of these candidates, when other options were unavailable and attracted by the benefits offered by Tianren Pavilion, chose to join, not because they genuinely believed in the pavilion's philosophy. All of the above constituted Lin Zikin's impression and understanding of Tianren Pavilion. Would it be convenient to take a moment to talk? Lu Chuanwu, the middle-aged man with the Daoist hairstyle, said earnestly, "We won't take up much of your time, half an hour will be enough." Without waiting for Lin Zikin to respond, he took a bag from the young man beside him and smilingly handed it over, saying, "Oh right, this is a small gift for our visit. Inside is the latest model of the fruit phone. If you don't mind, please accept it." "How could I possibly accept this?" Though Lin Zikin spoke modestly, he honestly reached out to take the bag. "A free phone, take it when it's free. It's just half an hour, let them take up the time." It was also a good opportunity to learn more about Tianren Pavilion and this so-called conservative faction. Seeing Lin Zikin accept the phone, Lu Chuanwu also showed a satisfied smile. No matter whether the recruitment was successful in the end, as long as they could sit down and thoroughly introduce Tianren Pavilion's philosophy to the second-place scholar of Nanjiang Province's college entrance examination, then the phone given away was worth it. "Shall we find a restaurant to sit down and talk while eating?" Lu Chuanwu's face was full of sincerity. "You decide the place, my treat." Talking at the candidate's home, he feared he might be chased out by the parents with a broom. The candidates, still young, would hardly be able to resist the allure of the latest model of a fruit phone, but the parents would not. Especially the parents of a child who was the second-place scholar in the college entrance examination, they were likely to dismiss a mere latest model of a fruit phone. If he dared to persuade the candidate to give up genetic fusion in front of their parents, the parents would dare to hit people with a broom. "Where would you like to go to eat?" Lin Zikin turned to ask Shen Qinghan standing behind him. After thinking for a moment, Shen Qinghan said, "Let's go to the dessert shop at the corner ahead." The shop was close by, just a 2-minute walk away, which would save quite a bit of time. After all, they couldn't afford to delay too long, as there was still a gathering at Hiyu's martial arts college later. In the dessert shop, the group found a corner to sit down, briefly ordered some syrup desserts and snacks, and got straight to the point. Mostly, it was Lu Juanwu speaking, while Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan listened. "Tianren Pavilion has been getting so much attention lately, I presume you both have your understanding of it, but with some prejudices," he began. "After all, many people are jumping on the bandwagon to criticize Tianren Pavilion for misleading the young generation and being a scourge to the community. Some even go so far as to curse Tianren Pavilion as a nefarious heretical section. All of these derogatory labels are nothing but parroting without independent thought, revealing biased perceptions. The pure-blood supremacy faction that we, Tianren Pavilion, represent shares the same ideology as the genetic fusion and mechanical augmentation factions, all aiming for the advancement of humanity. It's just that our research directions differ. Our members mainly consist of teachers and students from the martial arts colleges of major universities, masters and disciples from various martial arts gyms in society, as well as reputable independent martial artists. We gather together to study how to unlock the potential of pure-blood humans and evolve into advanced-level creatures, rare-level creatures, and even epic-level creatures without the need for genetic fusion or mechanical augmentation, relying solely on our bodies to break free from the shackles of ordinary levels. After years of exploration, we at Tianren Pavilion have achieved certain results, and you will understand after watching this video." As he spoke, Lu Juanwu took out his phone, opened a video, and continued, "My biological level is ordinary 9th order, and this is a video of me overpowering and killing a high-level genetic integrator." An ordinary 9th rank pure-blood human overpowering and killing a high-level genetic integrator? Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan were both a bit surprised when they heard this. Then, with that surprise, they began to watch the video playing on the phone. Two people appeared in the video. One was a bare-chested Lu Juanwu, showing off extremely exaggerated muscles. The other was a birdman covered in feathers. Lin Zikan glanced at the birdman and unexpectedly realized it was someone he knew, Wu Tiancheng, the strongest historian of Shanghai High School and now a tutor at the Evolution College of Shanghai University, a young and promising high-level genetic integrator. The rat god cult, which had been wreaking havoc in Shanghai City for nearly 10 years, was wiped out single-handedly by him. The nearly 10-meter-long Rat King was directly turned into minced meat by the countless feathers he shot out in his birdman form, and it fell dead on the spot. Soon, Lu Juanwu and Wu Tiancheng began to fight in the video. Like when he killed the Rat King, Wu Tiancheng shot out most of his feathers in an instant, shooting them at Lu Juanwu with a sky-obscuring intensity. However, these sharp feathers, which could easily penetrate the Rat King, only scratched Lu Juanwu's skin and drew a bit of blood when they hit him, causing no fatal injuries. After withstanding the barrage of flying feathers, Lu Juanwu took advantage of Wu Tiancheng's lack of feathers and inability to fly, immediately charging at him with a speed close to 100 meters per second, punching him to the ground and knocking him unconscious. The entire battle lasted just a mere minute. Out of that minute, 58 seconds were spent with Lu Juanwu enduring Wu Tiancheng's feather shooting. Lu Juanwu's actual counterattack only lasted a brief 2 seconds. Yet, in those 2 seconds, he instantly knocked out Wu Tiancheng, who could easily kill the Rat King, with a punch, demonstrating defense and attack power far surpassing that of a high-level genetic integrator. At the end of the video, a blood-covered Lu Juanwu stood in the center of the martial stage, shouting to the surrounding audience. "The human body is invincible in itself, why resort to the bodies of other species? With the body of an ordinary 9th rank pure-blood human, I battled a high-level genetic integrator. Pure-blood humans practicing the art of body refining are the future of mankind." His voice was loud, and even through the phone screen, Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan felt their ears buzzing, indicating how excited and impassioned Lu Juanwu was at the time. After shouting those 3 sentences, the video ended. But the shock on Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan's faces did not end. Body refining techniques? Pure blood humans? Able to overpower genetic integrators? Is it really that exaggerated? At this moment, their understanding was being challenged. Since childhood, both had only been aware of the strength of genetic integrators and mechanically modified humans, having no knowledge of pure blood humans who practiced body refining techniques. P.S. Begging for monthly and recommendation tickets. Chapter 104, 103, The Origin of Life. Could this video have been post-processed? Could that Wu Tiancheng be a plant? Having recovered from his shock, Lin Zikin's first thought was to harbor these doubts. After all, it was too far beyond common understanding and seemed incredibly unbelievable. As if knowing what Lin Zikin was thinking, Lu Chuanwu, sitting across from him, smiled and said, "This is the original live recording, without any post-processing. If you don't believe it, I will continue to challenge other advanced genetic integrators in the future, and you're welcome to come and watch live at any time." As he spoke these words, Lu Chuanwu's face was full of confidence. Lin Zikin believed that the video was real. However, he soon harbored a question and challenged Lu Chuanwu. If pure-blood humans can overpower genetic integrators across levels, why don't you post this video online? Wouldn't that better promote your Tianren pavilion? We would like to, but the current power holders do not allow it. Why not? Because the current upper limit for pure-blood humans practicing body refining is only ordinary 9th rank. Since they can't break the shackles of the ordinary biological level, power holders think that no matter how invincible they are at the same rank, as long as they can't move up in biological level, there's no future to speak of, not worth the investment to promote. They say they will consider promoting it when pure-blood humans can break through to an advanced level. At this point, Lu Chuanwu scoffed and spoke with a face full of disagreement. The problem is, if we don't promote it a little to get more people involved in the research, it will be difficult to make a breakthrough. After all, a qualitative change requires a quantitative change first. Moreover, this research needs the involvement and cooperation of geniuses to proceed as envisioned. But now, all the geniuses are choosing to embrace genetic fusion, and no one is participating in this research. In such a case, I'm afraid the research might not yield results even until the extinction of humankind. The more Lu Chuanwu spoke, the more troubled he seemed, his expression also carrying a hint of disappointment in today's power holders. Lin Zikin felt there was some truth to this. Some research does need support first to yield results. If support is only provided after results emerge, that's a bit unrealistic and shows a lack of foresight. However, he did not think that the power holders were truly short-sighted. Instead, he felt that the power holders must have other backups, better than the so-called pure-blood human path. Otherwise, they would not disregard the pure-blood human path so much. Across from him, Lu Chuanwu continued, 50 years ago, my biological level had already reached ordinary 9th rank, just a hair's breadth away from evolving into an advanced level creature. But I've been stuck for 50 years without being able to evolve. But I feel it's not that there's a problem with the direction of my research, but rather that my talent isn't good enough. If a peerless genius with a higher bodily talent were to take my place, they would definitely be able to break the shackles of the ordinary level and with the aid of the body refining method, evolve into an advanced level creature as a pure-blood human. Returning to the main topic, Lu Chuanwu said, actually, what I want to say is that Tianren Pavilion currently lacks nothing except for a genius like you to join. Wait, 50 years ago? You only look to be in your 50s now, don't you? You reached ordinary 9th rank when you were still a toddler? Lin Zikin sensed something amiss and was immediately filled with doubt. Seeing the doubt on Lin Zikin's face, Lu Chuanwu knew what he was questioning. After all, he had had this kind of conversation over 1,000 times before. Soon, he smiled and said, don't be fooled by my current appearance of being in my 50s or 60s, Actually, I'm nearly 100 years old. The reason I've lived so long and maintained such youth as a pure-blood human is thanks to the body refining method. If you don't believe me, you can look up my information on Beta-Bake to check my date of birth. Since it could be checked, it was definitely worth looking into. Lin Zikin unlocked his phone screen, opened the Beta-Bake web page, and entered Dean of Shanghai University's Martial Arts College. With a quick search, Lu Juanwu's personal information came up. Date of birth, March 1929. In 2024, that made him a 95-year-old elderly man. Body refining really does extend one's life. I wonder if my parents could practice it. The first thing that came to Lin Zikin's mind was this. He continued to look through Lu Juanwu's personal information. In his youth, he was the eldest son of a martial arts family. The Lu family, to which he belonged, was one of the foremost powers in Nanjiang province at the time. However, when the era of genetic fusion came, they couldn't adapt well to the trend, refused to accept genetic fusion, and the whole family fell into decline. Lu Juanwu, as the eldest son of the family, ended up with a broken family. The reason for the family breakup was that he insisted on not following the path of genetic fusion, while his wife and children chose to embrace genetic fusion. He would rather suffer the dissolution of his family than give up researching the pure-blood human path. Seeing this, Lin Zikin couldn't help but admire Lu Juanwu. Such perseverance was not something everyone possessed. Lin Zikin asked himself if, in the future, he and Shen Qinghan were to marry and have children and faced the same situation as Lu Juanwu, he probably wouldn't be able to choose research over his family. However, this hypothesis did not exist. Because Lin Zikin felt that if faced with the same situation, Shen Qinghan would definitely not leave him, but instead choose to stay by his side and support his research. Chapter 105, 103, The Origin of Life _2. This is the bond between childhood sweethearts who grew up together. Suddenly, Lin Zikin saw a very unexpected name in Lu Juanwu's personal relationships column. Ex-wife, Yuan Dongji. Son, Yuan Sushan. Daughter, Yuan Xiaoai. Yuan Dongji? Isn't that Han Han's cheap master? What a coincidence! Son Yuan Sushan, daughter Yuan Xiaoai, did they change their last names to their mothers after the divorce? Lu Juanwu seems a bit miserable. The more Lin Zikin thought about it, the more he admired Lu Juanwu. With the combat power that Lu Juanwu had just displayed in the video, if he had undergone genetic fusion when he was young, he probably would be at least at the same level as Yuan Dongji by now. He wouldn't need to shout joyfully to the sky after barely winning, bloodied, against an instructor at the school like he did in the video. He wouldn't need to be scorned every day while recruiting students everywhere. Suddenly, Lin Zikin noticed something was off. The profile pictures of Yuan Sushan and Yuan Xiaoai were both grey. Are they both dead? Lin Zikin wanted to click and see more about these two, but with Lu Juanwu there, he curbed his curiosity and didn't click. After seeing that Lin Zikin finished browsing the encyclopedia, Lu Juanwu smiled and said, "Although I don't look as young as other genetic integrators of the same age, being able to maintain my current appearance at nearly 100 years old is enough to show that human potential is great, and that pure-blood humans have a promising future. It is also for this reason that Tianren Pavilion exists, and why so many aspiring individuals are willing to join Tianren Pavilion to explore the evolutionary path of pure-blood humans," he added. As he said this, Lu Juanwu's tone suddenly became serious. What is Tianren? To prevail over nature is to be a Tianren. Here, human refers to pure-blood humans. After finishing, Lu Juanwu lowered his voice back to a calm tone and continued, "The mainstream view now is that without genetic fusion or mechanical modification, humans' potential is locked at an ordinary 9th rank. But in truth, it's the genetic fusion and mechanical modification that truly lock the potential. Genetic fusion, derived from exotic beasts, will never surpass exotic beasts, offers no future and will only end with humanity's gradual defeat to the invasion of exotic beasts, resulting in extinction. The same goes for mechanically modified humans. Keep in mind, many of the materials for mechanical modification come from the bodies of exotic beasts, again derived from exotic beasts, and thus cannot surpass them. Lu Chuanwu, feeling a bit thirsty from talking, took a sip of sugary water and then continued, Tianren Pavilion doesn't oppose genetic fusion and mechanical modification, but opposes putting all our bets on these two alone. I believe the right approach is to rely on genetic fusion and mechanical modification to hold out initially, and during this period, research other paths to prepare for the later stages. And developing the potential of pure-blood humans is a path worth investing resources to research. Having talked so much and for so long, seeing that it was almost time, Lu Chuanwu went straight to the point, Lin Zikan, I sincerely invite you to join Tianren Pavilion, to work together for the future of humanity. I am convinced that you can become the first pure-blood human to break the shackles of the ordinary ranks. The pitch was finally complete. Unfortunately, my heart was utterly unmoved. Thinking this, Lin Zikan did not respond to Lu Chuanwu's invitation but curiously asked, You've talked about the body refining technique for so long. What exactly is this body refining technique? Seeing Lin Zikan ask this, Lu Chuanwu thought he was interested in joining Tianren Pavilion and enthusiastically explained with a smile on his face. The body refining technique of Tianren Pavilion refers to the blood tempering technique, which comes from an ancient ruin. As the name suggests, blood tempering technique is about using qi blood to refine the body, strengthen the flesh, and enhance one's combat abilities. The records in the ruins state that when the blood tempering technique is cultivated to its highest realm, one can achieve a holy body, fly to the heavens and tunnel into the earth, and have fists that can break mountains and rivers. In modern terms, it means having the ability to rip apart steel beasts with the body of a human. However, the blood tempering technique can only be practiced by pure-blood humans. Genetic integrators have impurities in their blood, which is not pure, and they cannot practice it. It's the same with mechanically modified humans, their bodies are not whole, and qi blood cannot circulate throughout, so they can't practice it either. Aside from the blood tempering technique, other body refining techniques unearthed from the ruins are also only practicable by pure-blood humans. This is why we firmly believe that only pure-blood humans have a future, while genetic integrators and mechanically modified humans do not. After finishing, Lu Chuanwu asked again, Lin Zikan, would you like to join our Tianren Pavilion, practice the blood tempering technique, and follow the pure-blood human path? Lin Zikan politely declined, I feel that I still know too little about the so-called pure-blood humans, so I'll just wait and watch for now. Lu Chuanwu earnestly advised, you could join us for a year on a trial basis. If after a year you feel it's not suitable, you could still choose genetic fusion. But once you choose genetic fusion, your blood will no longer be pure and you'll be unable to practice the blood tempering technique. I still want to take my time to understand more, Lin Zikan again refused. Lu Chuanwu, not giving up, once again persuaded, really, Lin Zikan, your physical talents are so high, it would be such a waste if you didn't at least try the pure-blood human path. In our eyes at Tianren Pavilion, that student with a 16% genetic fusion compatibility from Nanjiang province isn't worth mentioning in front of you, not even comparable to a hair on your body. We've always believed that you, with the top biometric data, are the true top scholar of Nanjiang province. If you choose the genetic fusion path and compete with her, you might not outperform her, but if you decide to follow the pure-blood human path, you'll definitely crush her in the later stages. While delivering this last sentence, Lu Chuanwu involuntarily raised his voice a little. Shen Qinghan felt extremely awkward upon hearing this. She pondered how she had been sitting there the whole time without saying a word or provoking anyone, yet she had been shot while lying down. Lin Zikan was unaware if Shen Qinghan felt awkward, but he knew Lu Chuanwu was about to feel extremely embarrassed. That student with a 16% genetic fusion compatibility from the province, that's her. He pointed towards Shen Qinghan sitting beside him and said to Lu Juanwu. Lu Juanwu was initially stunned. Then so embarrassed he could have drilled a hole in the floor that would fit a 3-room apartment. Seeing the half-hour deadline had arrived, Lin Zikin stood up with a smile and said, "Thank you for the mobile phone and the sweet drink, but half an hour is up, and we have other matters to attend to, so we'll be leaving now." After finishing, Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan were about to leave. Lu Juanwu became anxious. He had been recruiting for so many years and Lin Zikin was the first talent he had encountered who was willing to talk with him for so long. He felt there was a chance to invite Lin Zikin to join Tianren Pavilion and did not want to give up this opportunity. Therefore, in desperation, he shouted to Lin Zikin as he was about to leave. "Half a year, just join us for half a year to give it a try. During this period, we'll offer you double the benefits that Evolution College provides you." "No, double is not enough, we'll give you triple." Normally, students at Evolution College start their first genetic fusion at the end of the first semester of their freshman year. Joining for just half a year would not conflict with genetic fusion, so he thought Lin Zikin would agree. Triple. Upon hearing this, Lin Zikin's eyes lit up, and he immediately turned back and sat down in his seat, saying very seriously, "As you know, I've always had great respect for the philosophy of Tianren Pavilion. I've decided to bring my talent to Tianren Pavilion and contribute to the cause of pure-blood humans." Whether the philosophy of Tianren Pavilion was right or wrong, he wasn't sure. The one thing he could be sure of at the moment was that being someone with the biometric attribute survival of the fittest, he didn't need to follow the path of genetic fusion. Therefore, now that Tianren Pavilion promised to provide triple the benefits, he had no reason not to join. Such a teachable young man. Seeing Lin Zikin's decision to join Tianren Pavilion, Lu Juanwu couldn't help but show a look of admiration. Then came a sharp pang in his heart. Offering 3 times the benefits to this kid, how much funding would that require? Sigh, it seems he would have to shamelessly approach wealthy women for fundraising again. He hoped that the kid would prove to be impressive and that in the coming half-year, he would bring some breakthroughs to their research. Otherwise, it would be a loss. While Lu Juanwu was thinking about all this, Lin Zikin suddenly remembered a previous doubt. He looked at Lu Juanwu and curiously asked, "By the way, I have a question I'd like to ask. Do you know what Origin Land is?" How did this kid come to know about Origin Land? Lu Juanwu felt puzzled but wasn't overly concerned and quickly replied, "That's a place believed to be the cradle of life. The exotic beasts that exist on Earth all come from Origin Land." Chapter 106, 104. The Secret of the Origin Land. The origin of life? Where do exotic beasts come from? Lin Zikin felt he had heard an incredible secret. Before this, he thought exotic beasts were shrouded in mystery, with humans knowing almost nothing about them. But from Lu Juanwu's answer, it seemed humans actually had a certain understanding of the exotic beasts. At the very least, they knew that exotic beasts came from the Origin Land, and that they could enter it. Shen Qinghan's mentor sister, who got off cheap, even had a photo taken inside the Origin Land, which indicated that humans could enter it. Is the exotic beast meat sold in the markets from the Origin Land? Lin Zikin suddenly thought of this question and looked at Lu Juanwu curiously. Lu Juanwu replied, "Of course it's from the Origin Land. Otherwise, with the little reserve of exotic beasts on Earth, the higher UPS wouldn't have enough for themselves, let alone to sell to the common people." Sell to the common people? The cheapest phantom squid meat costs 998 yuan per 500 grams, which common person could afford it? Sell to the wealthy, maybe. Lin Zikin couldn't help but mutter to himself and then asked, "I'm very interested in the Origin Land, do you have any videos that I could watch?" "No," Lu Juanwu shook his head. "Any electronic device would malfunction in the Origin Land, and many chemical reactions also cannot proceed normally. Is that place really so strange?" Lin Zikin was quite incredulous. But soon, he realized something was amiss. If electronic devices malfunctioned and many chemical reactions could not take place, then how did Shen Qinghan's mentor sister have a photo taken in the origin land? Upon thinking of this, he immediately asked, "But, some time ago a friend sent me a photo of her in the origin land, what's that about?" Lu Chuanyu explained, "Those so-called photos are mostly hand-painted. There are specialized artists in the origin land responsible for painting the environment, making maps, and other such tools. These artists' skills are incredibly sublime, it's not difficult for them to create paintings that look just like photographs. As long as you pay them, they can paint whatever you want for you." Lu Chuanyu grinned, "I've seen people bring in photos of their crushes, show them to the artists in the origin land, and then ask them to paint erotic pictures of themselves with their crushes for their own fantasies." Shen Qinghan blushed as she listened. Lin Zikan showed no reaction and quickly opened WeChat to find the photo Qinghan had sent him. Upon enlarging it, he indeed noticed it was painted, with traces of brushwork visible. The painting was incredibly realistic. Without close inspection, one simply couldn't tell it was a painting. "By the way, where is the origin land?" Lin Zikan looked up and asked Lu Chuanyu. Lu Chuanyu shook his head, "I'm also not very clear on this point because our human method of entering the origin land relies on arrays found within certain relics to teleport there. To this day, it's still uncertain whether the origin land is even on Earth." Lu Chuanyu added, "Of course, it's possible that those in power have actually ascertained its location but have kept it undisclosed, only allowing those at the very core to know." Lin Zikan pondered upon hearing this. Just then, the phone rang. It was a call from He Yu. As soon as the call connected, He Yu's urging voice came through, "Handsome guy and beautiful lady, the martial arts gym's promotional event is about to start. When are you guys going to arrive?" "We're on our way now." "Then hurry up." "All right, we'll be there in 10 minutes. After a brief exchange, the two quickly ended the call. Lin Zikan said to Lu Chuanyu, "I have to go, let's exchange WeChats, and we can chat more when we have the time." "Sure, I'll scan you." Lu Chuanyu added Lin Zikan on WeChat. Just as Lin Zikan was about to leave, Lu Chuanyu pulled out a brand new book and handed it to him. This is a translated version of the blood tempering technique. It contains detailed cultivation methods. However, the blood tempering technique has a certain threshold. You need to reach the biological level of an average 4th order, with enough qi blood within your body, before you can cultivate it. During this summer vacation, when you have some free time, you can take a look to get familiar with it in advance. Once your first semester of freshman year starts and your biological level evolves to an average 4th order, you can immediately begin cultivation. The standard for an average 4th order, on average, involves these 3 metrics. Lifting a weight of 1000 kilograms with one hand. Sprinting 100 meters in 5 seconds. Jumping vertically from a standstill to a height of 5 meters. Lu Chuanyu had looked at Lin Zikan's physical test data, which was very close to the criteria of an average 4th order. As long as Lin Zikan remained diligent throughout the upcoming summer vacation and continued to maintain high-intensity training, his biological level would definitely evolve to an average 4th order by the start of his freshman year. "All right, I'll take a look when I have the time." Lin Zikan took the books and casually placed them in Shen Qinghan's shoulder bag. "4th order is enough for cultivation? I'm already at 6th order." After participating in He Yu's martial arts school's promotional event, after eating dinner and taking a bath at home, I'll see whether I can cultivate the blood tempering technique or not. He's martial arts school, reception area at the front desk. As soon as Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan walked in, they saw He Yu and Li Chuxin sitting at a tea table, chatting. Li Chuxin was fashionably dressed, with a tank top on the upper body and a denim skirt on the lower body, along with a pair of enchanting black stockings on her legs, which could easily capture a man's gaze. Lin Zikan instinctively glanced at her, finding her quite tempting, but he wasn't particularly interested in his heart. Having acquired a selective taste from Shen Qinghan, among girls of the same age, if they didn't have the beauty and figure on par with Shen Qinghan, they generally failed to attract him. In contrast, He Yu wasn't as selective, currently sneaking peeks at Li Chuxin's black silk-clad legs, his face full of contentment. While sneakily gazing, the corner of He Yu's eye caught the two who had just entered, and he immediately looked over and teased, "Handsome guy and beautiful lady, you two finally arrived, we've been waiting for a long time." Lin Zikin responded with a smile, "Sorry, got held up with something." "Ziai Chen, Han Han, the two of you really do look increasingly like a match made in heaven. Seriously, I suggest you get married right after college graduation. I'll come to be your bridesmaid." Watching the handsome young man and the beautiful girl, Li Chuxin couldn't help but show an infatuated anti-smile on her face, shipping this childhood sweetheart couple a lot. Shen Qinghan blushed a little when she heard this, feeling quite embarrassed to be teased in front of others. But at the same time, her heart was filled with sweetness as she fantasized about the beautiful prospect of stepping into the hall of marriage with Lin Zikin one day. "Everyone is here now, so let's start with the promotional event." While they were all chatting and laughing, his father, who had been waiting for a while, came out from inside the martial arts school and said to everyone. Standing next to him, his mother glanced at him and chided, "What's the rush? Ziai Chen and Han Han just arrived. Let them sit down and rest for a while." After scolding her husband, his mother turned to the people at the tea table and smiled warmly and hospitably, "We're not in a hurry for the promotional activity. Take your time talking, I'll go cut some watermelon for you to eat." "Auntie, there's no need, we've already delayed you for quite some time, let's start with the promotional event now." Lin Zikin felt it was somewhat inappropriate since it was his own delay that caused them to be late, yet the host was still so hospitable, which made him feel uneasy. However, his mother insisted with a smiling face, "No rush, no rush, take a seat and rest first, have some watermelon to quench your thirst." After saying that, she turned and walked towards the martial arts school. Seeing his mother leave, Lin Zikin didn't want to impose any further. His father was a straightforward and honest man, not as adept in social interactions as his mother. Seeing that the promotional event would be delayed, he quietly found a place to sit and looked at his phone. Lin Zikin remembered that his father was a sixth-order martial artist, so he walked over to initiate a conversation about Tianren Pavilion. After chatting for a while, Lin Zikin unexpectedly discovered that the man was actually a member of Tianren Pavilion. Yet, he was only an outer member. As they continued to talk, Lin Zikin learned that his father didn't feel much sense of belonging to Tianren Pavilion. It was purely because he wasn't a genetic integrator or a mechanically modified human, and with no other choice, he had joined Tianren Pavilion just to have an affiliation. Phrases like pure-blood humans are the future were considered nonsense by his father, who always favored genetic integrators. After all, in today's society, genetic fusion is mainstream, and only by becoming a genetic integrator can one ascend to the upper echelons. Not as an unnoticed martial artist who can only open a martial arts school and earn a meager living by teaching students. P.S. Bowls out, seeking monthly and recommendation tickets. Chapter 107, Slap Her Face. In the evening, inside the room, Lin Zikin sat on the bed with his back against the wall, curiously flipping through the blood tempering technique given to him by Lu Juanwu. The book wasn't an ancient original, but a translated version in modern text, filled with annotations. With the effect of the Tianren wisdom root enhancing him, Lin Zikin was speed reading at a rate of 10 lines at a glance. In less than half an hour, he had finished the entire thick volume of the blood tempering technique. He learned that the blood tempering technique is divided into 3 stages. The first stage: become aware of the existence of qi blood and try to control it. The second stage: control the qi blood to perform body refining, starting with tempering skin, then tempering flesh, and finally bone tempering. Tempering skin and tempering flesh are very simple, no matter if one has talent or not, as long as there is sufficient qi blood, success is guaranteed, with only the length of time being the variable. The difficult part is bone tempering. Without sufficient talent, one simply cannot control the qi blood to permeate the bones for tempering. Even with talent and the ability to control qi blood to temper the bones, not everyone can endure the intense pain that comes with it. However, the more difficult a feat is, the higher the rewards upon completion. Once the skin, flesh, and bones are all tempered, the physical strength can reach that of an ordinary 9th rank. If one can undergo a second tempering, the physical strength can rival that of an advanced 1st rank genetic integrator. Even more incredible is a third tempering, which would surpass the strength of an advanced 1st rank genetic integrator. And the number of times one can undergo body refining, according to ancient records, is up to 5 times. But until now, only Lu Juanyu, after decades of cultivation, has managed to temper his body 3 times. No one knows just how powerful one's physique can become after the 4th or 5th tempering. In his annotations, Lu Juanyu speculated that if 3 times tempering could crush an advanced 1st rank genetic integrator, then 4 temperings could presumably crush an advanced 2nd rank genetic integrator, with 5 temperings following the same logic. The third stage. After body refining is complete, control the qi blood to open up the body's acupoints. There are a total of 366 acupoints, and the strength gained from opening each acupointment is comparable to having undergone body refining once more. Once all acupoints are opened, one can achieve the legendary sanctification of the flesh. The annotations in the book speculate that if even just one acupointment can be opened, one can break free from the shackles of ordinary levels as a pure-blood human and evolve into an advanced-level creature. After comprehending the blood tempering technique, Lin Zikan began to attempt the first stage sensing qi blood. He closed his eyes, calmed his mind, and concentrated. Following the guidance in the book, he used his spiritual power to sense the qi blood flowing inside his body. Within 3 seconds, he had successfully sensed the qi blood. Easier than he had imagined. After sensing the qi blood, the next step was to try to control it. This process was somewhat challenging. Lin Zikan tried for nearly half an hour before he finally managed to control the qi blood in his body. Being able to control the qi blood meant he could perform body refining. Lin Zikan didn't want to wait another second and immediately began body refining intuitively. The first thing he wanted to temper was the skin on his entire right hand. During the tempering process, the skin being tempered experienced a burning sensation, which was slightly painful, but not intense. You are using qi blood to temper your skin, skin toughness +1, blood tempering technique proficiency +1. About half an hour later, the tempering was complete. The skin on his entire right hand, while apparently unchanged at a glance, felt noticeably tougher than before. And at that time, less than 1% of his body's qi blood had been consumed, still very abundant. I wonder how tough my right hand's skin is now, should grab a knife and scratch it to see. Thinking this, Lin Zikan quickly went downstairs to the kitchen, took a fruit knife, and forcefully scraped the back of his right hand. He then found that nothing happened to his hand, except for a faint scratch mark on it. Just one tempering and it's already impervious to knives and swords. No wonder Lu Juanyu, after 3 times of body refining, could withstand Wu Tianquan's feather shots. I have to say, this blood tempering technique, exclusively for the pure-blood human body, really is something. I wonder how strong the body can be after 5 times of body refining. At this thought, Lin Zikan became invigorated, immediately returning to his room upstairs to continue tempering his skin. Shanghai University. A training field of the Martial Arts College. A woman clad in a martial arts uniform, with her hair tied in a single ponytail, sashaying with grace, was intensively training her body within. Just as she passionately sweated it out, Lu Juanyu hummed a tune as he strolled in from the outside, his face brimming with pleasure. "Principal, what's put you in such a good mood?" The woman paused her training, wiping the sweat off her forehead, and asked with some curiosity. Lu Juanyu's mouth quirked up proudly, under the invincible charm of my personality, the second-place achiever of Nanjiang Province's college entrance exam, and the top physical test scorer of the province, has joined our Tianren Pavilion." "Really?" The woman's face was incredulous. She had well understood how unpopular Tianren Pavilion was with talents over the past decade, so it was hard to imagine that a genius would be willing to forego the path of genetic fusion to join Tianren Pavilion. "For real, I've even added him on WeChat already." Lu Chuanyu unlocked his phone screen, opened his WeChat friends list, and showed it to the woman. Seeing Lin Zikin's name, the woman couldn't help but widen her almond eyes, amazed that the so-called useless principal had actually managed to recruit the provincial second-place achiever. "Principal, how did you pull it off?" "It was my personal charm." "Ha, quit bragging. Tell me the truth." The woman had no patience for his boasting, eager to know the real story. Lu Chuanyu told the truth. "I didn't do much really, just told him whatever benefits Evolution College could give him, we at Tianren Pavilion would offer him 3 times as much." 3 times? The woman was dumbstruck for a moment, then her face turned frantic. "Principal, the funds for our pavilion are almost exhausted." "No, not almost, we are already in deep debt." "Where are you getting the money to offer him triple the benefits?" After saying this, she quickly urged, "You shouldn't be idling here chatting with me, Principal. Hurry up and meet with your old flame to reminisce, go sell your body to bring some funds back." Lu Chuanyu spoke confidently, "Don't worry, I've got it all lined up. One for the first half of the night, another for the second half, and yet another one tomorrow morning. We'll have more than enough for triple the benefits." After saying that, he looked at the woman and asked, "Yuan, how long did it take you to sense your qi blood after getting your hands on the translated version of the blood tempering technique?" "Ah, that was 10 years ago. But if I remember correctly, it should have been around a week before I could sense the qi blood," replied Song Yuan after recalling the past. Lu Chuanyu then asked, "And controlling it?" "Controlling qi blood?" Song Yuan answered firmly, "I remember very clearly, it took me exactly 2 months." Lu Chuanyu sighed, "A week to sense qi blood, and 2 months to control it. You really lived up to your reputation as the capital city's college entrance exam runner-up back then. Your talent was remarkable. Although I consider myself a genius, it took me nearly 2 weeks just to sense qi blood. It's true what they say, there's always someone better." "Principal, please stop bringing up the words capital city's runner-up in front of me," Song Yuan complained bitterly. "Ever since I gave up the path of genetic fusion to join Tianren Pavilion and research the pure-blood human path, not being able to evolve into an advanced-level creature has led to no end of mockery over the years. It's absolutely maddening." Lu Chuanyu nonchalantly replied, "Let them laugh if they like, what's there to be annoyed about? I've been laughed at for decades, and I'm still standing strong, aren't I? What we're doing is enduring hardship for future success. The more we suffer now, the more exhilarating our breakthrough will be later on." Continuing, Lu Chuanyu said, "Just give it a few more years. Once you evolve into an advanced-level creature with the body of a pure-blood human, you'll make a sensational breakthrough. You can then easily hang and beat any of your genetic integrator classmates. In a few years." Song Yuan chuckled bitterly, "I feel like it could take 10 years or even never happen." Opening acupoints was incredibly difficult. Ever since completing her first body refining 5 years ago, Song Yuan had been attempting to open acupoints. But 5 years had passed, she had undergone body refining twice, and still, not one acupointment had opened. To be honest, she felt that opening acupoints could be classified as a lifetime goal. If she could open one by the age of 50, she would consider it a success. Thinking this, Song Yuan suddenly asked, "By the way, Principal, did you give Lin Zikin a copy of the translated blood tempering technique?" "Of course, I gave it to him. I wouldn't forget such an important matter," said Lu Chuanyu. "I'm looking forward to him mastering the control of qi blood before school starts, and then have his biological level evolve to ordinary fourth order as soon as the term begins, immediately starting his body refining. Song Yuan inquired, "Principal, how long do you think it will take him to successfully sense Qi blood?" "I estimate it'll take him about 10 days to sense it," Lu Chuanwu explained after answering. "That kid's physical test data is quite extraordinary, almost on par with your high school graduation physical data." Song Yuan said with anticipation, "I guess he must think Tianren Pavilion lacks geniuses, and that he's the one with the highest talent. I wonder if he'll be totally shocked when he sees me, a beautiful senior with even greater talent, once school starts." Seeing Song Yuan's eager expression, Lu Chuanwu realized this woman was quite the hypocrite. This Song Yuan, she would often get annoyed at him for always showing off, yet here she was, planning to show off in front of a talented junior. Well? Now she's looking forward to flaunting herself to a gifted underclassman? Lu Chuanwu hoped that Lin Zikin would perform even better and give her a well-deserved slap in the face. P.S. Begging for monthly and recommendation tickets. Chapter 108, 106, First Kiss. In the room, Lin Zikin was still refining his skin. It took him less than 3 hours to finish refining the skin on both arms. The price he paid was that about 1/3 of his qi blood had been consumed, leaving his body weak and feeble, and feeling a bit dizzy. However, it was only physical discomfort, his mood was filled with nothing but pleasure and excitement. The surface area of the skin on both arms accounted for about 18% of the entire body. At this rate, he could refine the skin on his entire body in less than a week. By then, his body would be impervious to sword and spear. Just thinking about it made Lin Zikin's mood even more cheerful. At this moment, his phone next to him sounded a notification. It was the alert for a WeChat message. Picking up the phone and opening WeChat, he found a message from Shen Qinghan. "Han Han, Xiao Chen, have you gone to bed?" "Zi Chen, not yet." "Han Han, I've prepared a surprise for you, can you come over to my room to see?" "Zi Chen, what surprise?" "Han Han, if I tell you, it won't be a surprise anymore." "Zi Chen, okay, I'll come over now." After ending the chat, Lin Zikin checked the time and found it was almost midnight. He was curious about what kind of surprise it could be that she was calling him over to see so late at night. Thinking this, he quickly got out of bed, left his room, and arrived at Shen Qinghan's door, where he stopped and took out his key to unlock it. This was a key Su Meng had given him for easy access. Similarly, Shen Qinghan also had a key to his house. Their families were not yet related by marriage, but they were already closer than in-laws. "Xiao Chen, are you looking for Han Han?" "Yes, she mentioned on WeChat she had prepared a surprise for me and urged me to come over and have a look." "Then you'd better hurry up to her, lest she gets anxious," Su Meng said with a smile from the living room. Lin Zikin didn't linger for a chat, but quickly headed towards the staircase. Soon, he arrived in front of Shen Qinghan's door and noticed it was not closed but ajar. Having learned from past experiences, he did not push the door open but instead knocked and said, "Han Han, I'm here. Come in." The voice of Shen Qinghan came from inside the room, sounding a bit tense. Lin Zikin pushed the door open and walked in, closing the door behind him. Then, he saw Shen Qinghan sitting on the bed with the quilt wrapped around her. She was wrapped up tightly, with only her head showing, looking like a zongzi. "What are you doing?" Lin Zikin was somewhat baffled. Shen Qinghan replied with a flushed little face, "Nothing, just prepared a surprise for you." Lin Zikin found it strange and said, "What kind of surprise requires wrapping yourself in a quilt?" "Come over and you'll see." Shen Qinghan lifted a corner of the quilt, her pretty face turning even redder and hotter. Seeing her blush like that, Lin Zikin couldn't help but think of some not-so-child-friendly scenes. Could it be that she was not wearing anything under the quilt? Was the surprise to offer herself to him? With these thoughts, Lin Zikin felt his body grow a bit hot. However, he remained composed on the outside and smiled. "Let me guess, you're not about to show me a glow-in-the-dark luminous watch, are you?" "I'm not that boring," Shen Qinghan pouted her rosy lips in denial. Lin Zikin looked at her tender and lustrous cherry lips and, driven by a man's instinct, really wanted to lean down and give her a kiss to feel the softness of her lips. After steadying his emotions a bit, he stopped guessing, took off his shoes, climbed onto the bed, and readied himself for Shen Qinghan's surprise. "Why don't you lift the quilt?" Shen Qinghan pursed her tempting pink lips, her voice tinged with a thread of shyness. Lin Zikin swallowed, reached for a corner of the quilt, and began to lift it slowly from the bottom up. As he lifted the quilt higher, a pair of dainty and exquisite white silk-clad feet appeared, tempting and small enough to fit in one's hand. Then, slender and straight white silk-clad legs followed, and a pair of somewhat plump white silk-clad thighs. Finally, there was a blue and white porcelain cheongsam with a slit hem, looking very similar to the one Yuan Dongji had worn on the day of the compatibility test. White silk and cheongsam. Lin Zikin felt even hotter, sensing an imminent physical reaction. He quickly pulled the quilt over to cover his legs. "Do I look good in this?" Shen Qinghan, feeling shy, didn't meet Lin Zikin's gaze and looked down at her white silk legs, asking with some anticipation. Lin Zikin nodded, "It looks good." Shen Qinghan bit her lip, fiddled with her hair that fell down her back, and shyly said, I also bought black silk stockings, do you want to see me wear them?" "Let's have a look." Upon hearing the words black silk stockings, Lin Zikin felt even hotter, but he tried to remain calm. Seeing that Lin Zikin wanted to see it, Shen Qinghan blushed as she quickly began to remove the white silk stockings from her legs. The white stockings, sliding off from her slightly plump thighs to her knees, and then slowly over her cute and dainty feet, looked a bit clumsy compared to the silk smooth removal by girls in online videos. But it was precisely this clumsiness that made Shen Qinghan look all the more enticing, carrying the unique charm of an innocent young girl. After gently slipping off the white stockings, Shen Qinghan turned around, took a pair of fragrant black stockings from behind her, and slowly began to don them. Lin Zikin watched the whole process of her changing stockings, and he had to admit he was enjoying it. A moment later, she had her black stockings on. Shen Qinghan raised her slightly flushed face, her clear eyes shining with a hint of youthful timidity. Softly and sweetly, she asked, "Do they look good?" "Yeah, they look good, they really suit you." Lin Zikin's breathing grew heavier, but he didn't let it show too much. Chapter 109, 106, First Kiss _2. The girl next door has blossomed, and silk stockings and cheongsams are here to entice. Shen Qinghan looked very tempting in black stockings, like a ripe peach that makes one unable to resist taking a bite. Feeling his body growing increasingly hot, Lin Zikin quickly found a topic to divert his attention and asked, "The quality of this cheongsam and stockings seems pretty good. How much did you pay for each?" "The cheongsam cost 5,288 yuan, and the stockings, 2,998 yuan a pair." "What?" Lin Zikin was stunned. The heat that had just risen in his body instantly froze over at the prices Shen Qinghan quoted. Together they're over 10,000 yuan. That's so expensive? It might make sense for the cheongsam to be expensive, but these thin stockings selling for thousands? What's going on? Seeing Lin Zikin's shocked expression, Shen Qinghan explained, "They're brand name goods, so they're pricier." To prevent Lin Zikin from thinking she was a spendthrift, she quickly added, "I bought them with the prize money from topping the exams, not with my parents' money. But it's still too expensive." Lin Zikin couldn't comprehend, perhaps a bit too straight-laced. In a weak voice, Shen Qinghan said, "Expensive ones are of better quality and less likely to get damaged. They last a long time, so actually, if you look at it over a longer period, it's not much of a waste." "It's not a waste, not at all. Wearing something expensive feels comfortable, liking it yourself is what's most important." Sensing that his lack of understanding may have dampened Shen Qinghan's spirits, Lin Zikan quickly expressed his agreement. Shen Qinghan shook her head slightly and pursed her soft, delicate lips, saying, "Whether I like it is not important, it's most important that you like it." Lin Zikan stated, "I really like it, I was amazed the moment I lifted the covers." "Really? Really? Then that's good." Shen Qinghan's eyes bent into a slight smile. No sooner had she finished speaking than she stretched her leg toward Lin Zikan and said with flushed cheeks, "These stockings feel very nice to the touch, do you want to feel them?" "Then I'll feel them." Lin Zikan placed his hand on Shen Qinghan's leg and began to stroke it with a gentle touch. The subtle rustling sound was very pleasing to the ears. It was as intoxicating as listening to the songs Shen Qinghan sang. "How do they feel to your touch?" Shen Qinghan's face was extremely red, but she still asked. While enjoying the wonderful sensation from his hand, Lin Zikan replied, "I can only say that there's a reason they're sold at a high price, the touch is very good, quite comfortable to feel. If I had bought cheap stockings, you wouldn't be enjoying this feeling now." After speaking, she blushed even more, and with a coy voice said, "Do you think maybe it's just that my legs themselves feel good to the touch? They complement each other. The stockings feel good, and your legs also feel very good. Then between the stockings and my legs, which feels better to you?" As she asked this, Shen Qinghan's tone was much more natural, not as shy as before. As time went on, she had slowly gotten used to the feeling of wearing the stockings and no longer felt embarrassed being stared at by Lin Zikan. Lin Zikan moved his hand to her bare foot, holding it gently in his hand, his heart in turmoil but trying to appear calm. "Then it's definitely your legs that feel better." "I think so, too." Shen Qinghan was overjoyed inside. Just then, there was a knock at the door, followed by Su Meng's voice, "Xiao Chen, your mom just sent over some daily necessities. I hung them on your doorknob. You can come out and pick them up later." Startled by Su Meng's voice, Lin Zikan instinctively withdrew his hand from Shen Qinghan's leg. But quickly he realized, he and Shen Qinghan were meant for each other, and both their parents were supportive. What was wrong with touching her leg? Thinking this, he placed his hand back onto Shen Qinghan's black silk-clad foot, feeling it as he replied, "Okay, I got it, Aunt Meng." Touching her feet felt more interesting than touching her legs, as he could hold her entire petite foot in his hand. After Su Meng had left, Lin Zikan got up, opened the door and brought the bag inside. Remembering the embarrassing incident when Shen Qinghan had stayed over last time, he immediately opened the bag to check, and sure enough, he found an ultra-thin condom. Shaking his head, he threw it back into the bag, pretending he hadn't seen it. It wasn't that he didn't want to eat her up, but it was too soon. Their lips hadn't even met yet, what's the rush? Straight to the end would be so bland, enjoying the slow process of getting closer was much more interesting. "Aunt Xin already sent the stuff over, why don't you stay over tonight?" After speaking, Shen Qinghan added, "Ever since you started elementary school, you've never slept on my bed, it's always been me sleeping on your bed. That's not fair at all." "Then I'll sleep over here more often," Lin Zikan said with a smile. Shen Qinghan huffed and said, "You'll have many nights to sleep over then. You'll have to sleep here hundreds of times to even out the frequency. You're keeping track?" "Of course. Then do I need to wet your bed as many times as you did mine?" Lin Zikan teased Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan pouted in rebuttal, "That's not the same at all, I didn't do it on purpose." "But I am teasing you on purpose." "Oh, you're so annoying." Shen Qinghan picked up a pillow and threw it at him. Lin Zikan caught the pillow, laughing as he threw it back. The two of them began to toss pillows back and forth, playfully bantering with each other. Unknowingly, time had reached 1 a.m. Lin Zikan checked his phone and saw how late it was, then said to Shen Qinghan, "It's so late, let's go to sleep. Staying up is bad for a girl's skin." Chapter 110, 106, First Kiss _3. It's already 1 a.m. Shen Qinghan glanced at the time and realized it was already so late. She usually went to sleep before midnight. No, I have to brush my teeth and wash my face quickly and go to bed. Shen Qinghan quickly took off the stockings on her legs, got out of bed, put on her shoes, and went to the restroom to wash up. Lin Zikin watched as she took off the stockings on the bed, picked them up to take a closer look. The quality really was good, worthy of being a brand that costs thousands of yuan. Nice legs deserve nice stockings. However, he thought maybe he should also buy some cheaper, lower quality stockings as disposable items to tear up and throw away. About 10 minutes later, Shen Qinghan finished washing up and came back, and then it was Lin Zikin's turn to wash up. Another 5 minutes passed. Lin Zikin finished washing up and returned. By that time, Shen Qinghan was already in her pajamas sitting on the bed, waiting for him to join her to sleep. Seeing this, he walked unhurriedly to the light switch and said, "Then I'll turn off the light." "Turn it off." Click. The light in the room went off. The whole room plunged into darkness. At that moment, Shen Qinghan remembered she hadn't put on her diaper yet and hastily said, "Xiao Chen, turn on the light, I forgot to put on my diaper." Click. Lin Zikin turned the light back on. Shen Qinghan got out of bed, opened the drawer, and took out a diaper. She didn't go to the restroom to put it on, nor did she ask Lin Zikin to leave, she just asked him to turn around and not look. Afterward, she took off her pants in the room and skillfully put on the diaper, not feeling at all self-conscious in front of Lin Zikin. "Okay, you can turn back around now. Then I'll turn off the light." "Turn it off." Click. The light in the room once again went out. The two quickly went to bed to sleep, sharing the same quilt and the same pillow. Their bodies very close to each other, clearly able to hear each other's heartbeats. Once Lin Zikin calmed down, he noticed a faint fragrance on Shen Qinghan's bed that was very comforting to smell. He asked curiously, "Han Han, why does your bed smell a bit fragrant? Did you use something?" "No, that's my body fragrance. I've slept in the bed so long that it's scented the bed." "Body fragrance?" Lin Zikin was puzzled, "but it doesn't quite match the scent on you." Shen Qinghan turned to face him, confident, "It really is my body fragrance. If you don't believe me, you can smell it on me now." "Then I'll have a sniff," Lin Zikin said and then shifted a bit closer to smell Shen Qinghan's chest. After carefully smelling for a while, he still couldn't match the scents. Just as he was puzzled and about to ask again, he caught a glimpse of an air freshener hanging at the head of the bed out of the corner of his eye and immediately realized he'd been duped. Clearly there's an air freshener hanging above the bed and you tricked me into thinking it was body fragrance, hey. But I really do have a body fragrance." Shen Qinghan grinned playfully, refusing to admit it was the air freshener's scent, teasing Lin Zikin on purpose. Lin Zikin was about to say something when he felt the warm breath of Shen Qinghan fluttering on his face and realized their faces were very close. At that moment, looking at Shen Qinghan's moist and plump cherry lips, he felt a sudden urge to kiss them. Shen Qinghan, aware of the growing intimacy, her eyes gradually becoming misty. After they looked into each other's eyes for a few seconds, Lin Zikin slowly moved in and kissed Shen Qinghan's cherry lips. Feeling the warmth of Lin Zikin's lips, Shen Qinghan's body shuddered as if shocked and then became completely limp, feeling as though she was melting. Lin Zikin didn't kiss her for long, just experienced the soft warmth of her lips before pulling back. In the nearly half a minute that followed, neither spoke and were silently savoring that brief, wonderful moment. When love is mutual, the feeling of a first kiss is truly delightful and unforgettable. Suddenly, Shen Qinghan broke the calm. She tossed off the quilt, got out of bed, put on her shoes, and prepared to leave the room to go outside. "What happened?" "I peed," Shen Qinghan said, feeling embarrassed. Merely kissing Lin Zikin, Her heartbeat had accelerated, her body temperature quickly rose, and she had wet herself uncontrollably. Hearing the words peed, Lin Zikan quickly sensed something and sat up in bed to ask, "Did you pee while we were kissing just now?" "Yeah." Shen Qinghan answered, her cheeks slightly red. Wetting herself just from a kiss was not particularly flattering, it was too embarrassing. Lin Zikan then asked, "What did it feel like when you kissed? Was it a big wave of emotion?" "It was a faster heartbeat, like a thumping feeling," Shen Qinghan explained awkwardly. "I also felt suddenly hot, and then I just peed." After finishing, she added, "There really was a big surge of emotion just now." Lin Zikan thought for a moment, then shared his speculation with Shen Qinghan. "I suspect that unknown superpower of yours might be related to spiritual power. It could be controlled by spiritual power, and if your spiritual power is high enough, maybe you can fully develop and control this superpower." PS. 2 chapters updated together.